Welcome to the Anti-Social Podcast. It's Saturday, the 20th of August, 2016, getting close to 7 a.m. And I'm frantically recording an intro for this episode before I drive off to the airport, and then jet off to Brisbane. I've got my dad's surprise 60th birthday today, so me, my brother Mitchell, and fiance and soon-to-be wife Jess, exactly a week time I'll be a married man, so it's all happening. Quickly before we dive into the episode, some quick things to mention. Amazon portal, if you guys shop on Amazon, please use that portal link on andysocial.net. You can do a right click on the link from my website and paste that into your browser favorites to make it easier. Any orders that you do make from Amazon using that link, I get a small percentage of that order, which helps fund the podcast. So your shopping experience doesn't change apart from clicking on a different link, but has a massive impact on what I do. So any way of helping, that's a great way of helping out the podcast. So thank you very much for the people that have been using it so far. It's been quite cool. Supporting this podcast in other ways, sharing the YouTube links. All these episodes are on YouTube as well. Sharing, liking, commenting, ratings and reviews on iTunes. Anything that you can do that takes a couple of seconds for a few clicks and a few taps away on the keyboard can go a long way for this podcast to reach more people. This episode is just a short in-betweener. It's a small one. It only goes for about 20 or 30 minutes. Recorded last night on the way to the Bald-Faced Stag in Leichhardt. Saw a friend play down there last night, which was really cool. And thought I'd do a bit of a recap of what's been happening over the last few months and what's coming up over the next few weeks, and next couple of months actually. And we'll be talking a lot more in the future, a lot more episodes coming, but a bit more context and explanation as to why the podcast has been a little bit sporadic over the last month or so. So tune in. Hope you enjoy it. More stuff coming soon. I'm taking my podcast stuff with me to the US in a couple of weeks' time. So there'll be heaps of episodes coming your way over the next few months. So thank you so much, as always, for supporting, and enjoy this episode. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm using my headphones to record this episode. It's a Friday night, about 10 to 9, and I'm driving into the city to see a friend, Ian, play a gig at the Bald-Faced Stag in Leichhardt in Sydney's inner west. Ian plays in a band called, and I'm probably going to pronounce it wrong, as I'm known to do, Meridian. I probably completely butchered that. And I actually haven't seen them play live before, so it'll be cool. But Ian's a massive supporter of us in Lord, always helping us out when we come down to Melbourne to play, and a great mate. And Ian and his girlfriend Sam are coming to my wedding next week as well, so they're flying back up to Sydney for that. So I think the least that we can do is come out and support him tonight and the other bands that are playing. And it should be good. It's only going to be a brief one for me, and I think Mark's coming out as well to say hi. I think he's lending some gear to Ian. But for me, it's crunch time for the wedding. As I said, next week I will be a married man as of next Friday. I don't know when this podcast is going to go out, so it might be this Friday. It might be the Friday gone. Who knows? But it's crunch time. It's all hands on deck, trying to get my head around, get our heads around all the final touches, all the silly little things now, things that you don't normally think about, but you need to think about, the logistics, getting people to places at certain times, how are we going to maneuver different things, getting items to locations, and finalising bills, and making sure there's things like music and what to play the music through, and the formalities and paperwork and all sorts of stuff. So it's certainly a lot to it. I've been quite overwhelmed over the past 18 months, to be honest, since I proposed to Jess. There's just been so much discussion and debate. There's just been a lot happening around
one day. And it's been a journey for me personally, because it's not something, your traditional wedding is not something that really did interest me a great deal. For me, the commitment is all about committing on an emotional level and being there as physically as a partner, as a person, and the formalities of it, going through a ceremony and legally binding and whatnot, is not something that has been and still is to a degree of major importance to me, because that's not why I proposed. I proposed because I've found the person that pretty much just ticks every box for me and is my best friend, and someone who just will do anything and everything for me, and somebody that I feel the same for, and that I wouldn't hesitate to drop everything for Jess. And those are the reasons why I proposed. And over this period of time, this journey, I've had to go through a lot of these things and have to question myself as to my where my importance lies, where my focus is, and I think a lot of my personal beliefs of it all are fine, but there's a number of people involved, and over time I've realised that it is a really special day, and it is special even from a law-binding contractual agreement, setting in stone, pen to paper, but the glitz of the wedding itself, every component of it is special, and it's really, while it is a day for both of us, it's really a day for Jess as well. And I think, stereotypically for most women, girls, you grow up and probably dream of getting married. You fantasize or envision what your wedding day would be like, the dress that you wear, the way that the ceremony is, where it's going to be, reception, your family, your friends being there, and you have a dream, you have a vision in your head of what it's going to look like. And I think, going back to stereotypes, for a lot of guys, we probably don't think about that as much. Our heads are usually in different areas, so it's definitely a clash of worlds to come together and find the compromise and the understanding of each other. And I think, looking on it now and where we are with a week to go, like this time next week, I will be married. I will have a wife. I'll be a husband. It's weird to say. But I really think that sitting where I am now, the process of a wedding for me is the first real step in marriage. It seems to be the first test, the test of patience, compromise, understanding, empathy, sympathy, really having perspective from the other side, and really showing that understanding and having responsibility as well. There's been many a time where I've had to take a step back and throw judgment on myself and realize that some of the things that I'm doing and saying from a place of selfishness rather than a place of maturity, and something that a husband to be should be acting upon. Sometimes getting clouded by my own stubbornness and beliefs of what I think is important, what I think is not important. And it's been a journey for me, and it's been a test. And, it certainly has had its ups and downs along the way. And I think in hindsight, there's many a time where I could have handled myself a lot better. And I'm very thankful that Jess is still still willing to marry me after my little hissy fits at times about why we're doing this and why we're spending money on that, and why are we going through with this tradition when the tradition doesn't really have any logical rationale or anything like that. And I'm very grateful that Jess hasn't completely ditched me after all those events along the way. But it's been a test for me, and I think that sitting where I am now, I'm definitely a better person for it, and I think I'm better prepared to be a husband by going through this process. And I have a lot more respect for that journey. I have a lot more respect for that, for the event itself and the meaning behind it. And there is meaning about celebrating and emphasizing and putting focus on a period of time, a moment in time, to really demonstrate our love for each other in front of people that mean the most to us. So it's maybe it's a bit of a coming of age moment for me as well. So it's been a very interesting journey, and I think even now, just talking about it out loud, which I don't get a great deal of opportunity to do so, now I'm starting to really get some clarity over the whole picture and where I stand and where I am in this big journey of life. So it's definitely been rewarding. So over the next few days, I've still got some work to do. There's lots of band stuff that's happening. So on top of the wedding, as a lot of you guys know, we, as a band, head over to the US to play Prog Power USA in Atlanta. So the day after my wedding, Jess and I go away for a few days to Melbourne. Just gonna get away for a few days and just try and decompress and just enjoy each other's company and not have to worry about meeting up with people, having a schedule or an agenda or having to be anywhere at a particular time. And if things pop up or we feel like we want to do something, then we can do it. If we don't and we just want to veg out, eat and drink and whatever, then we can do that. So that'll be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Only for 4 days, which is still pretty good. But I get back into Sydney, and the following morning I'm on a plane with the guys to LA, and it's pretty much bang on from there. And we're in LA for a few days, then we jet over to New York for a few days, and then over to Atlanta, or down to Atlanta I should say, for the festival. And we'll be kicking off the festival with the first band on. It's a 4-night festival. It's really cool the way that they set this festival up. There's only about 5 or 6 bands on each night, and we're the first band on. We all get minimum, I think every band gets at least an hour set. So I think the headliners get an hour and a half. So the headliners for each night, off the top of my head, Dragon Force, Blind Guardian, I'm going to get the order mixed up here, Fate's Warning and Devin Townsend. So I think it might be the other way around for the last 2, but it's going to be really cool. And to be able to go over there for the first time as a band and play and have an hour set as a debut show, and to have a great crowd in front of us, it's going to be really, really cool. And I really do hope it's going to be the start of many more visits to come, even with that painstaking visa process, which was, we didn't even participate in the entire process. We were very lucky to have petitioners over there doing a lot of the legwork for us, but the involvement that we did have was very full on and quite convoluted and annoying. But so hopefully this will be the first of many trips over to the United States to play, and hopefully we get a lot of buzz from our show. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully there's no train wrecks. We've been rehearsing a lot and trying to iron out all the bugs. We're using backing tracks and whatnot, and we're hoping that they don't die on us during the set. So it's, we'll just cross our fingers and hope for the best. But I think we're going to be running on adrenaline. We're going to be on all cylinders. It's going to be a lot of fun. So the last few weeks leading up to now with the wedding, but also finalising the US trip has been pretty stressful. I've had to more or less pack 2 bags for Melbourne, pack another bag for the US, and then I've got a pile of clothes and whatnot that are getting put aside for our second part of the honeymoon, which is going to be in Europe. So when we get back from the US, I've got a couple of days back in Sydney, and then Jess and I jet off to Europe for almost 5 weeks. So we're going to go to Barcelona for a couple of weeks, hang out there. We've got a nice Airbnb, and pretty much a similar thing to Melbourne. We're just going to chill out and base ourselves there. We're going to explore Barcelona, maybe travel around Spain a bit. We'll see what we feel like doing. And then from there, we're going to go to Prague, and we're going to stay in Prague for about 2 weeks as well. Same sort of deal, Airbnb, right in the center of Prague. We're just going to chill out, have a good time, travel a bit around Czech, and see what's there to offer. We've got a few ideas of things we want to check out, but no schedule or itinerary, which I'm definitely a sucker for. Jess has had to rein me in a little bit and say no schedule this time, no day-by-day itineraries that we need to follow. And from an OCD side of me, I tend to get quite stressed when I'm not following an itinerary. So this will be a bit of a challenge for me, but I'm looking forward to just really decompressing. There's been a lot happening this year, so many things in my life that have been challenging, rewarding, character building. There's just been so much happening, and it'll be good just to really sort of reflect and think about the life ahead for both of us, band, everything. This podcast, which it's been eating at me, not being able to be as consistent as I have been in the past. I really want to make a big thing of this podcast, but the last few weeks of having sporadic episodes here and there has really sort of gnawed away at me and made me feel anxious. And I've tried my best just to calm down and realise that the only person making the rules is me. I'm not answering to anyone in particular, but it's just I really want to have the time in Europe to enjoy my surroundings, be mindful of where I am, aware of where I am, not stress about the future, not stress about where I've been, but reflect and get excited about what's to come, and maybe do a little bit of planning. Just be motivated and get into a really positive headspace about life, about everything. There's a lot of stuff we've got to do. There's a lot of debt coming for us, we just got to get the right plan in place, but we'll be fine. So I don't know where I'm going with this podcast episode as we speak right now. I'm driving along the M4 heading towards the city. It's about an hour drive in from where I am staying tonight. I'm actually flying up to Brisbane early tomorrow morning with Jess and my brother for a surprise birthday for my dad. It's his 60th, so we're going up there for a birthday party. It's a Barefoot Bowls shindig. So for my international friends, I don't know if you know of lawn bowls, but it's pretty much lawn bowls. But I like to think, at least in Queensland, I don't know about other states, but in Queensland they've modernised it a little bit. I think a lot more younger people go to bowling clubs. So it's usually reserved for the elderly, but a lot more young people go there. There's a lot more of a drinking culture associated with it now, rather than like just a pension, a social thing. Yeah, it's barefoot bowls. You take your shoes off, play bowls if you want to, but more or less food and drink, bit of a social gathering, have a good time. And yeah, it should be really fun. So we've actually, I will fill you guys in on what we got Dad for his 60th. I was racking my brain trying to think of things, and I'm one of the worst people for gifts, and I might actually do an episode down the track about just gift giving, because I think gift giving for me is I'm on this journey, and I can see where I'm going with it, but gift giving for me has been such a struggle. It's a stress for me. I have a sense of anxiety when I think of giving gifts. I like to think that I'm generous, but I have a difficulty with my generosity, in the sense that when I'm thinking of other people and thinking about what to get people, and when I really struggle to think about what to get for people, and as a result, I really kick myself, because I like to think that I know people better, and I should know what to get people because I know them well enough. So there's a whole process to that, and I'll leave that for another episode down the track where I'll ramble on about that. But yeah, I really struggled to think about what to get Dad, and over the years, I'm one of those sons that just gets the voucher. And in Australia we've got Bunnings, which is a big hardware mega warehouse chain in Australia, which is really, really cool. And as I get older, I seem to find more and more of a fascination for the place. So I don't know if that just comes with age, but anyway, every time I walk in there, I seem to get more and more excited on each occasion. But I definitely have a reputation, like a lot of sons out there, to take the easy way out and get vouchers for my family. But this year I thought, I've got to do something a bit more. And if I do a voucher, it's got to be for something. It can't just be redeemed for money, and to spend on something. And I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I've been absolutely obsessed with the minimalists. If you guys haven't heard it yet, you need to check it out. And a massive thanks and credit to Kurt from Podkembler for referring me to that. I haven't even messaged you about it, Kurt, but it's just absolutely blown me away. And I'll have to do an episode on that down the track, because that's another thing altogether, but I'll leave that to now. But one of the things about minimalism is, not focusing on the tangibles as much and thinking about experiences, and that's the thing. They're the things that we retain more so than items. And I thought, well, everything that I would buy Dad, and I'm looking at the horrible novelty gift shops, especially the knick-knacky novelty Dad stores where you get car items and football, sports paraphernalia, and I don't know, all that sort of stereotypical rubbish. That sort of stuff just ends up in a box somewhere, or left in its packaging, or re-gifted, or never used, sitting in a cupboard somewhere. So I didn't want to do that. So there's a couple of things that I decided to do, and I am getting to it. One of them was I thought about getting Dad a nice bottle or something, and I can hear everyone groan straight away, because I was building up to this thing like I was going to say something incredibly special, but it ended up being a bottle or something. But it was a bottle of scotch, and I got him a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label. And for you guys out there that aren't well versed with spirits, I'm not typically either myself, but Blue Label is a very nice spirit, extremely smooth and quite expensive. It's not super expensive, but it's a couple $100 for a bottle. I got a slight discount, but it's not a cheap bottle. And I thought it might have some significance. It's not something that Dad would guzzle down. It might be something that he opens down the track and has on a special occasion, or doesn't open and just leaves it for a few years. And I don't know. I don't know whether Blue Label would increase in value. I have no idea. But just a bit of a symbol more so than just a bottle of booze to drink. Something of monetary value, but something just shows that there's, I don't know. I think people that probably drink alcohol would probably relate to it and relate to the value that it might hold. Other people that aren't interested in alcohol would not see the value in it. Dad's not a big drinker, which I think sort of adds to that value, because I think he will appreciate it more by having a little bit every once in a while, or just idolizing it on the shelf. Idolizing it's such a bad word, but appreciating it on the shelf. So anyway, that's one of the presents that we chipped in for together. And the other one was, I was looking for a voucher of an experience of some sort, and I was looking at skydiving, but my dad's done that before. I think he did it for his 40th. Did a tandem skydive, which was pretty cool, and I was looking at helicopter and plane joyrides, driving experiences, all sorts of different things like that, and I thought they were all cool, and I think Dad would enjoy them, but I don't know. I mean, from my end, I keep wanting to try and find something different, and I really wanted something that paled in comparison to the bottle of booze that we've got in. I wanted something that is just completely opposite, unexpected, something that would maybe even raise his eyebrows and go, oh yeah, this is a bit interesting, and maybe even be a little bit skeptical of it. But hopefully by going through with whatever it is, oh God, I should pay attention to what I'm doing when I'm driving. I'm getting in the wrong lane. I'm a horrible city driver. But once having the experience, having his eyes opened up. So what I got him, and a bit of inspiration from Jake Skinner, who was previously on the podcast, and Kurt as well, who's from Pod Kembler, who's been to one of these before as well. I got him some vouchers for sensory deprivation tanks, so flotation therapy. So for anyone who's listening for the first time or hasn't listened to the episode with Jake, I can't remember what episode it is, 50, 51, something like that, 52. Either way, flotation tanks is, it's like a small confined space. It's like a cocoon that is filled with a high concentrate of salt. I'm explaining this very, very simply in very basic terms, but it is there to provide the sensation of weightlessness, pure floating, where none of your body is feeling the weight, feeling that sensation of weight, and the temperature of the water gets so close to your body temperature that after a while you don't even feel the water level against the side of your body. So you float there, and the idea is that you float there in this state for a minimum of an hour, and it gives time for your body to relax, your joints to relax. Apparently it's I haven't done it yet, which is ridiculous. I keep raving on about how great this is, and I haven't even done it yet. Everyone keeps saying how amazing it is, and I'm totally enthused and motivated by it, but I just haven't got around to doing it. So next best thing is I'm just referring everyone else to it. So I'll get there eventually. But the purpose of it is, I mean, apparently there's fantastic benefits for joints, muscles, but it's also an amazing thing for the mind. It gives the mind a chance to relax. There's no distractions. There's no data, nothing floating around in front of you. I'm losing the word, but there's nothing in front of you that's distracting you from what's happening. No sights, sound, anything that really sort of distracts you from thought. And it gives your mind a chance to just completely zone out and just let it run free. And apparently over time, as you get further and further into the session, your mind really goes on an incredible journey. And apparently it's really rewarding. It's quite therapeutic, why they call it therapy. So I thought it'd be a great thing to have my dad experience. And I think my dad gets a kick out of trying new things and likes the novelty of things as well. So I think initially he'll go in just for a bit of a kick, just to have a laugh and say that he's done something different. But I thought I'm not going to catch him out this time. I'm going to give him 3 sessions. So he's forced to go 3 times. And it's not an hour, they're an hour and a half each. So he's really going to get thrown in the deep end with this. But luckily he'll float. Excuse the pun. But I'm confident based off everything that everyone's been saying. And Dad has, some joint issues and whatnot over the years, and I guess being 60 years old, things catch up with you over time. And I thought maybe there might be multiple benefits for him, not just mind but body as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what his reaction will be when he sees the vouchers, the 3 sessions for flotation therapy, and then what his thoughts are afterwards. I think it'd be really, really interesting to see what he thinks, and maybe I might have to get him on the podcast. I wonder if he'll agree to do so. So I'm quite excited with that one. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I have been carrying on. Hopefully, it's been mildly entertaining or informative, or whatever positivity can come from my rambles. I have just rocked up to the venue now and getting ready to park. I'm just watching a very drunk slow guy walk across the road. Thanks, dickhead. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks, guys. I keep promising for more episodes. They will come. They're coming slowly. I've got lots of plans to record. It's just, I've got a few things going on at the moment, but we'll get there. Anyway, take care, guys. Speak soon, and blah, blah, blah. See you. Bye. You're ready.